They go down a lot of different rabbit holes of what could have happened. And I'll tell you what, dude, when you get to the end of it, you're like,
I don't know what happened.
dude, no, I feel very strongly about what happened.
Never flying a plane.
I feel
again.
very strongly about what happened, but I will not be flying flights in
that area.
In certain areas, for sure not. Episode 51, buddy.
We are back.
We're back. We took a week off.
Got some rest.
We lost half the team. PTO overlapped.
Isaiah
Huge scheduling error.
Josh are not here.
That's what happens when you get super successful.
But we have an awesome guest stand-in.
That we do. Mike DeMarco.
Hello.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Hi.
There you are. There he is.
Hello.
All right. So, Mike, we've both known for a very long time.
Very long time.
I've known him for...
Since I was a teenager, dude.
Since he was a teenager.
Really? I didn't know that.
You met him at Apple.
Yes.
We all continued our relationships at Apple.
Yes,
Friendships at Apple.
Once a genius, always a genius.
That's right.
This is true.
And Mike is going to be fulfilling Josh's role today because Josh is obviously not here. So it's going to be great. But Mike, let's do a little bit of background on you real quick.
Sure.
Because you're a creative in your own right.
You are.
Sure. Yeah.
So you, and some people that follow this podcast and listen to this show probably also follow you and listen to you. So you, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, you've had a little bit of a renaissance in the music space.
Yeah.
Over the last several months, maybe a little longer than that. Seems like a little bit of a new season for you.
Totally.
So talk to us a little bit about that. You're very present on social media, making all the videos,
Yes.
doing all the things, making
have a
beats,
question,
doing a
but
beat per day for a while. It was.
Man.
So
Yeah, that was a lot.
take us through that a little bit. Explain yourself.
Plug yourself. Elevator pitch.
Sure. My @ is DMVRCO. It's my last name in a real cool spelling.
I like that. The A is like that.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Long story, I mean, not to get too much of a bummer, at the middle of November, I got laid off from my job from they just were bleeding money.
Yep.
And then I took a month of just playing Call of Duty in my underwear and just applying to jobs. And then I was like, all right, I've got time. I should probably be doing something more than Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So
were you doing Warzone or are you doing?
I was doing Warzone. I was doing some
all right.
multiplayer.
There's never enough time for Warzone.
I was telling a bunch of teenagers that I banged their mom. You know,
the good stuff.
Yeah.
What you do as an adult.
Yeah. And then I took some time and I was like, all right, you have this home studio and you're not using it. You should start using it. So I was like, all right, let's just figure out all the content that you have. And then I started tracking drums in my house and I started making beats. And then I was just like, let me just put this out every day and see how long I can go with it. And I've been going since December 26th and I don't see an end as of right now.
So the concept here is that every day you're creating a song or a
beat or something unique or
Yeah.
it's either, from what I've learned, it's either you're entertaining or you're educating.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Sure.
Because you've recently gotten to more of the educating.
Yeah.
You got your first half of it.
It was a lot of entertainment,
Right.
and now it's a little bit of both. And I'm kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what
That's the
sticks.
process.
And I'm
Sure.
just I'm seeing collaborating with people has been the biggest headway. I put out a video today and it's got I think a ton of stuff with this local rapper DDM.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So it's just collaborating and doing all that stuff has worked out really well.
That's great.
Kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
I love it.
Rad.
I love it. I watch the stuff. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I get on the Twitch. Yeah.
What's
know.
what's been the biggest over the last couple of months doing this? It's a little different than prior to that,
yeah.
drummer in some bands.
Yeah, played
doing that kind of
drumming for
a little
20
bit more
years.
traditional
Totally.
in the music space, right?
Yeah.
Doing the whole content creator thing now, different vibes. What's been the biggest surprise for you so far? In doing this shift, in the last couple of months,
it's made me more creative than I thought I could be. You don't realize that a lot of people want to know just the little minute things. They want to learn about stuff that you didn't think they would care about. I was writing a song the other day and I was getting pissed off with the melody on the piano and I couldn't figure it out. So I whistled it. And then I just turned that into a complete video of how to change your actual audio in Logic into a MIDI MIDI notes, so then I can just put it on a keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's just like stuff like that. And people respond pretty well to that. But again, I'm just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks. I'm trying to pick up on trends. I could bore you with the details.
No,
but
it's all good. What's the big you use, like Instagram, TikTok?
Instagram for sure.
Right
TikTok.
Instagram?
I mean, I post stuff on literally everything, like YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. But Instagram has been like
that's what you have enjoyed the most.
Yeah, it's the best one so that I can see.
Before we get off of that, I got one question. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat real quick.
Let's go.
Were you actually wearing your wife's underwear?
Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. For sure. Because I was like, I didn't know. I'm not good at
Explain it. Give everybody some context.
So for reference, there's a video that you can find on my Instagram or across all my social media of me playing this one Blink-182 song called "Build This Pool," and it's like a 16-second song, and the lyrics are. I want to see some naked dudes. That's why I built this pool. So I played my drums naked. Well, it looked like naked. And I'm not that good at editing in Final Cut. And I shot the video. I shot the video naked first and was like, shit, I should probably put on some underwear in case like my dick fly. Not that my dick's not that big.
We're just trying to be sensitive to the viewers.
To the viewers. So I was just like, I should put on some like nude colored underwear so I can blur it even better.
It actually was.
So then I posted the video that night and my wife was sleeping or something like that. And then she texted me and she was like, what are you doing? You're applying for jobs. Like, you can't have this. I was like, I'm not naked. I'm just in your underwear. Like,
it's discretion. I think we all appreciate it.
That's awesome. But I think it's dope that you can provide.
And that like got a huge response. I think the biggest, actually, to go back to what you said, the biggest thing is people can smell bullshit a mile away. And I think when you're genuine and you can make fun of yourself or you can like whatever it is, that's like when you get the best response. Or you're just doing something really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very helpful to have somebody else in the driver's seat. It means a lot to us.
Love to see you too, man. I love you, bro. Good to have you, man.
All right. So transitioning real quick into the rye of the night. This was Courtney's choosing. We have High Plains Rye, blend of straight rye whiskeys is what it says. Selected and blended by Jim Rutledge. Now, do you want to give us a little bit of a backstory on why you
I'll give you some
chose
cliff
this?
notes. There was a crazy accident, like getting out of Owings Mills.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. My plan was to like go to the quarry.
Yep.
On my way here because Isaiah didn't come to my house today. Middle finger to him because he went to play golf. And
it's just you today.
And it's just me. I usually wait for him.
It's all good. Happens.
And then I was like, I was leaving out of my house and I was like, let me check like my routes. And I literally got the text from my mother-in-law like 695, crazy accident. Don't get on 695, 795. I'm like, crap. So like I turned around and I was like, all right, well, I'll just go the back way. Went the back way, went to the quarry, which I don't normally go to. Mm-hmm. And I went and I was like giving the walkthrough and I was like picking up bottles. Like, what do you think of this? And what do you think of this? And I picked up that one. And the guy, his name is Jose.
Yep.
And he was like, that's a good one.
Positive response from
Positive
Jose.
Response. I've used your phone number for the points.
Oh, that's great. I
So
appreciate
you'll get
that.
the points.
Wow,
God bless,
respect.
man.
Yeah.
All right. So a little fun fact here. This is comprised of 4 different whiskeys pulled from 4 different distilleries.
Trash.
It's dicey when we're pulling from 4 different places. I'm not going to lie.
trash.
All right. So whiskeys selected for this rendering were distilled by Kentucky Artisan Distillery, Middle West Distillery in Ohio, MGP Distillery in Indiana, and New York Distilling Company, quote unquote, yielding a rye whiskey to be enjoyed by all. A little suspect, but
That
nonetheless,
description sounds sus.
we're going to dive into it and give it a shot. I've poured myself some. I will slide that down to you. You can
It's
pass the
got
mic when you're
Middle
done.
West.
We'll find out. That's
It
what
looks
says.
like a Hennessy bottle.
A little bit, a little less round.
Little Tupac going on here.
All right, so you kick that off there.
I love a
We'll
rye,
take a little
though.
sip. We'll sit with
Can't
this
beat
for a minute. Now
Did you kill that so you can have some of this?
I'm gonna dive into. There's one item on the news list that we're gonna hold for the time being. I'm gonna jump right to the Lamar Jackson thing because this is
let's get it out the
really
way.
on top of a lot of minds. Now, as you know, I'm not a football expert by any means. I don't really understand the inside baseball, if you will, of the sport and what all's going on in in the office.
Gotcha.
But I have my theories. I have my opinions. I listen to some podcasts on the matter.
That's all you need.
Yeah. So I have some thoughts.
If you have ears, you're an
I
expert.
also follow Lamar on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, if you have ears and eyes, you can be an expert. That's what I say.
Is he pretty active on Twitter?
He is, yeah.
More active, I think, on Instagram, I want to say. Although maybe he kind of goes through phases where he like posts a bunch of stuff in a day and then he kind of bows
He
out.
does his thing on Twitter where he retweets a lot of news. And
That's
like,
true.
And
He does do
like,
that. He does do
and
that.
then he posts himself like the kid. Like I'm at the age where, in age wise, Lamar is like a kid to me. I'll say the kids because
He's
like,
a young man.
He's a young man.
He's a young
like
man.
20. He does a thing where the kids like stand there, you can't see their face, and like,
Yeah.
So he does a lot of that. A lot of like
I've never felt older since when I started following him. Instagram and Twitter, all the things that he does on there, it's right
young.
over my head.
Yeah,
so far above it that I feel.
Didn't he do
ancient.
something with like the big red boots?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like he's
Yeah.
he's really into it, man.
So-
he's
Word on the street, not to cut you off,
no, please
just to keep the pace here. Word on the street is he has an official representative, apparently, according to the interwebs.
This is new to me. I didn't know this.
Yes, and he's been approaching whoever this person is has been approaching teams, NFL teams, and telling these teams that Lamar is done with the Ravens. He wants to move on. He's ready for something else, and that apparently Lamar is no longer fixated on the guaranteed contract per se.
That's interesting.
Now, there's not a lot of details on this and or who this person is, so it seems highly suspect to me.
Yeah.
Call his bluff.
Also, his social media, I would say, is contradictory to those
Absolutely.
statements.
Because he just posted a picture with someone, and I can't remember who it was, but he's standing in his Ring of Honor, not Ring of Honor, in his MVP jacket with the Ravens.
A lot of pictures and video of him in Ravens themed gear.
He's got a Ravens chain.
And his Ravens chain. There was one video where he was with somebody and they were obviously at a concert, and I don't know if you watched it, but the person that was holding the video or holding the camera, phone rather, and asking Lamar he was like, what's going to happen essentially? Like, where are you going to wind up? What are you going to do? And Lamar like holds up his Ravens chain and like shakes his Ravens chain. There's a lot of like subliminal
I don't know
messaging.
about that.
It's very curious. I don't know. It's very, very odd. So why don't you kick this off here? Why don't you tell me where are you? I mean, I feel like I'm more tuned into this than you are, but at this stage. But what do you think? How are you feeling?
Okay.
Are you done with Lamar? You tell him to get out?
I'm not done with Lamar. Like, if I had it in a perfect world, we could come to an agreement. Well, the Ravens could come to an agreement with him that would be friendly to the organization and him, and he could get most of his guaranteed money, and we can still hit free agency pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the narrative is now changing given the predicament of the non-exclusive franchise tag, because now this allows him to explore options, and in exploring these options, he can now see what his value is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And what that does to, like, if he thinks he is here, right?
Sure.
And he goes and explores his options with these teams, and they're like, no, brother, like, you're here.
Yeah.
That can really be a self-esteem blow.
Sure. Of course.
Right? And if he's like, well, if no one's really going to give me what I'm expecting, and they're even lowballing me, and the Ravens are going to give me this, then I might as well stay. And then it turns into a bitter relationship, right? Like, I wanted to see if the grass was greener.
Yeah.
But it's not. So, I might as well cook this steak dinner and have some red wine here and get this nut off. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so it's like, it's a really, really tough thing. And then so many different, there was the conspiracy that the owners were like, because of what happened with Deshaun Watson and him getting that $230 million guaranteed, and them being angry with the Browns owner about that because he basically disrupted free agency by doing that.
Of course.
And, they felt like this is kind of the catalyst behind Lamar Jackson's request for so much money.
Yeah.
Now there was a conspiracy that the owners were like, do not sign him for more
there was
than,
like collusion or something.
Yeah, which I don't. I think if there was some collusion, there would be a significant investigation into that. Like,
sure.
But you never know. Like that could.
But
be
there can also be like collusion without there being collusion. And by
right.
that I just mean all of the owners. It doesn't take take a rocket scientist to stitch together the reality of all of the owners looking at each other and being like, that's too much money, right?
Yeah.
Without saying that that's too much money. And like they're all going to be on the same team pretty easily, even without having like email threads about we gotta block these, these high contracts.
Yeah,
so it seems like, I bet you there is to a certain degree.
Something where they're just like,
it's not like direct collusion, but I do think all
the
the owners are like, we got to nip this in the bud like sooner than later. We can't just start offering these people like insane amounts of cash.
What do you guys think he's worth? Actually, before that, drop him. Let's bring back Joe. And then
so many people on Joe train.
I'm just kidding. I couldn't care less. But what do you guys think what does he ask as someone that's a little out of the loop? Do we know what he's asking for? From what I understood, he was like, from what I think I remember, he just wanted like way more money guaranteed.
Yes, he wanted basically a fully guaranteed contract.
Okay.
And so so to set the preface of this, like this quick snippet, when a player signs a contract, right? For example, Daniel Jones, New York Giants, signed a $160 million contract with like, I want to say like 110 guaranteed.
That's pretty great.
Right? He's not going to get $160 million.
No.
He's going to get the 110 unless he does an absolutely significantly crazy MVP job.
Yeah.
And then like that other $50 million is all in incentives, all like if we make it to the Super Bowl, if you do like 15,000 yards passing, if you make 25 touchdowns this season, like all of that stuff is contingent upon him getting that extra $50 million. So
that makes sense. Okay.
Where Lamar is like, I'm going to do that. I'm gonna
guarantee. I can almost guarantee you that.
I'm gonna hit all these numbers, so I want all my money up front.
Yes,
bold.
And what it does is it creates a tumultuous situation for the general manager Eric DaCosta, because it's like I can give him all this money, but what do we have left? Our salary cap will be wrung dry, and we can't bring in anything else. Like injuries happen, like things happen. Like what if he gets hurt? We can't sign another quarterback of substantial, you know what I mean? Like
it's very limiting to put that much
That's
money
the best word for it, limiting,
on the line for one specific player. It basically just kneecaps you for the rest of the team, essentially, because you're just limited now with the cash.
Because if you're going to do it, just do it and then get the incentive. Like, you know what I mean? Get the $100 million guaranteed. And then if you take us to the Super Bowl, boom, you get $50 million. Like, I don't see what the problem is.
Well, so there's a couple of things. So to put a point on some of this, $133 million fully guaranteed for 3 years. That was the contract that was confirmed by Lamar that he turned down. So are there other contracts out there for different time amounts? Perhaps. Nothing has been confirmed though from either side other than that amount. It's a significant amount of cash.
Lots of cash.
And in the grand scheme of things, after all the math is said and done, I think he'd be the second highest paid quarterback in the league of all time. So it's a pretty meaningful contract. Rumor is that Lamar had issue with the fact that contract wasn't longer. He wanted it to be longer, and he wanted it to be for more money. I think he was looking. I think the rumor was Lamar was looking for 5 to 6 years, with like the same amount of guaranteed money, which would have netted him again somewhere around the $250 million mark, which is what I think Watson.
There's always extensions.
I think that's what he landed on. Well, I think with Lamar, there's a lot of variables there. One is in my opinion, he is not the healthiest quarterback out there. He
Last 2
is young,
seasons, you've missed
but
the
I
last
do
5
think
games.
he is
Yeah.
highly susceptible to injury. I think he wants to make sure he's getting paid regardless. I think he knows that he's out there doing a considerable amount of work, and he doesn't want to be out there doing a lot of work, running that high risk to not get paid. At the same time, you don't want to pay somebody a ton of cash that is going to potentially get hurt. It's like this weird kind of like catch-22 situation, right? Like this like stalemate that they have. But in either case, it seems as if there's kind of two things that are happening to kind of circle this all back around. One is either Lamar and the Ravens are like they're working together. Mm-hmm. They have a really tight social media like strategy in place. And this is an amicable thing where he is shopping for better contracts. The Ravens are allowing him to shop for a better contract. Ravens hoping that, the market is going to stabilize. It's going to provide him some perspective. Lamar is thinking, listen, like they're giving me my best shot, but if it doesn't work out, we're all going to be happy at the end of the day. Yeah. There's either that's either what's happening, or it's misery in the Ravens office and they can't figure anything out. Lamar is really pissed off and he's upset and things are eroding very quickly. That would be my perspective on it. Like, I don't know which one of those things is happening. It's tough to say at this point.
I think it's the latter. And the non-exclusive franchise tag was really an indicator of that, because it's like, you know what? We don't have to set it. We don't have to set the market for you anymore.
Yes.
You go out and see what you can get, and we'll match it.
And it could have started as one and maybe shifted into the other. Like, I think Lamar probably did want to be amicable and thought, well, you know what? Fine, let's let the market set it. I'll prove you guys wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think it was March 15th, right? That was the day that other teams could start submitting contracts or having conversations with him. And I don't think that there's any record of anybody reaching out to him at this point. I mean, he has people reaching out, it seems like, supposedly.
And then, that's the thing where he doesn't have an agent. So it's like, how are we supposed to get in contact with Lamar Jackson? Like, do you tweet him? Do you send him Instagram note? Like, hey,
it's tough.
I don't know. I'm trying to get up with you, bro. Like,
I feel like I have less of a prediction on this than I've ever had before.
At this point,
I do think he's growing increasingly dissatisfied. Again, not considering his social media content, I'm just going based upon the rumors that are circulating within the NFL and what unofficial, official spokesperson he does have, apparently out there working for him. It seems as if he's trying to find a way off of the Ravens and find his way into a better deal, and it's not working for him. So I would imagine he's got to be unhappy about that. But again, if you look at his Twitter and his Instagram, it says something different. It says something different. So it's hard. Like, I'm trying to separate that
from what you see, because
maybe he's just trying to save face and not look like a shitty teammate.
I don't know.
And he wants to be seen as like, I'm out here trying to rep the brand in a positive way. I don't want to be seen as somebody who's dogging a team.
I mean, he's still going to get $32 million from the Ravens.
God.
So
I mean, I don't know how cash rich the Ravens are, but I feel like there's probably other organizations, other teams that could give him those contracts. So
this is the problem, and that's a good point.
But like, he's he runs so much and he's such a flight risk, and like the fact that he's clearly gotten hurt enough and can get hurt if he continues to run, but his running is what's winning so many games that other organizations might not be willing to invest that kind of money because they might not get it back because of injury. But I assume like something like the 49ers or like, I don't know.
Perfect situations for him would have been Atlanta,
really,
New York Jets, and business-wise, the best scenario if he were to move on would have been Chicago. New York has a great core of skill players who are still on rookie deals. So if you're going to pay somebody to come in and do it, you do a sign and trade, send the pick. And then a lot of teams don't have the picks to compensate to get him, right? If you make an offer and he accepts, you have to have 2 first-round picks. A lot of teams don't have it. And the only teams I believe that had it, the Jets, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta. He could go to Houston, but I don't think that there's a working relationship there. New York would have been an awesome destination for him skill-wise, given all of the weapons they had around it, but they wanted Aaron Rodgers, and they got Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. And then there's Chicago, which works out for Baltimore business-wise because they got the 2 first-round picks and they have a tradable starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So if the Ravens were smart, and I'm not saying they're not, but if I were Eric DaCosta and Lamar Jackson wants his money, I would negotiate with Chicago. Chicago will easily give him $200 million. They send us Justin Fields. They send us this 2 first-round picks. Lamar can get his money and go play in Chicago with that nice core of young guys. We can play with Justin Fields, draft a quarterback, and draft a new offensive lineman or a skill player or what have you. And now we got 3 additions versus what we had giving up all the cash for Lamar. But I'm a Ravens Lamar guy through and through. So I would love for them to work it out. But if you're going to look at the numbers and kind of make it work, this is a game of chess and business and you're trying to win Super Bowls. I think the Chicago situation is probably best. If we are going to move on from Lamar.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. My sense is that he winds up stuck here. I don't think I don't think he winds up stoked about it, and I think it's a mediocre year. Would be my guess. I think he's not going to be super invested, but
we'll see.
Just my opinion. All right, now let's
Welcome
not turn this
Guys
into
and Bourbon, sports radio.
Turn this into sports talk. All right. So we'll get this out of the way real quick. One of the first item on the news list was the YouTube terms and terms.
What do you mean I can't say
and conditions or something? Anyway, apparently there was they rolled out a program that demonetized content if you used curse words in the first 30 seconds or something like that.
We tried a pilot program.
Yes, we piloted this program. Again, there was some kickback on that, I suppose. And they, I guess, amended some of the terms and conditions to basically say that that's no longer the case.
You just can't say the F word?
Yeah, I guess the F word, though, is still, you can use it, I think, once maybe or sparingly throughout the video. I'd have to double check.
Or if you come out in the first 30
you just
seconds,
can't
just
use
F-bomb,
them.
F-bomb,
Yeah, you can't
F-bomb.
use them consistently.
I will apologize for my earlier speech then because
it's all good.
I dropped it.
It's all good. I'm just saying, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. There was a little bit of an uproar that took place. I don't know. I mean, we're trying to build something on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not monetized at this particular moment, so it doesn't really affect us. But in the future, who knows what could happen?
Yeah. Flaviar Highlands.
I don't think that you really use expletives in your content, do you?
Your stuff is more
sometimes every once in a while I'll use it, but it's interesting when you use captions on Instagram or anything like that. If you say a curse word, it will usually catch it, but not as well. You can say shit, and it'll be shit beep, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost comical, they missed it was a live a live shoot.
It's gonna get dicey.
But I use it once in a while.
It's all good. Now on Instagram and on TikTok, sorry,
dog traffic.
With the captions, I notice when we do, I think I bleep ours out if we have them in our trailers and ads, not in the long form content. But I do think if you do the captions, right, you can't have expletives in the captions. You have to. That's why a lot of videos, it'll say
misspell.
It'll misspell it, or it'll have a different word in its place or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great. I'm getting better at this.
I'm trying to think,
dude.
and kudos to you. I think you do an awesome job with our promotional materials. I don't think there's ever been one where, because I'm the guilty party. I'm the one that's just potty mouth all the time.
I know. We've tried to do clean episodes before.
That's hard.
Just to have it.
And then I'll be clean, and then our co-hosts
very
Josh and Isaiah are the ones that will slip up. So I don't know. I don't
Very
know.
hard to
Maybe
accomplish.
it's something in the Baltimore water where we just can't not curse.
But why is it YouTube and I guess a lot of the social medias are rolling it back? It feels like how cable you couldn't hear a curse word ever.
Yeah.
And now you can start to hear, I mean, I haven't watched cable forever, but you can start to hear curse words, and now social media, it's rolling. We're going back in time.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's you couldn't even
That's an
say
interesting
titties
thing.
on TV.
It's an
in
interesting
the
thing.
90s.
I'm not 100%. I don't really know why. I feel because it's probably hard to patrol or monitor that type of content to the masses. So it's probably easier to just nix it all together, right? Because you have
think it has to do with advertisers.
You have younger people using the devices and using the content. Advertisers too, I mean, they care about that as well. But it's like one of those things where you just kind of want to blanket it because it's easier than trying to like piecemeal content for like somebody who's 18 or older versus like, you know what I mean? Like to try to like demograph people, like break it all up and to run content, like, so like to take explicit content and then to just show that on devices like that are confirmed to be with somebody of an older age.
Yeah.
That all seems like it's probably too much work and too much effort. And to your point about the advertisers, not as appealing. Like you want content that you can send to everybody all the time.
Like if you're like syndicating your show and it's got like F-bombs all over the place, like Metamucil is not gonna they're gonna be like, bro, like you're running your show at like 2 p.m. when my nana's watching this. And that's when you wanna like advertise like Bits Harvey and Metamucil and like whatever.
Fortunately
else.
for us, Manscaped is
there you go, right?
Blue Chew is totally fine with what we've got going here.
Exactly.
But interestingly enough, at least for YouTube, there are some like some videos that you like if you just like click through like Instagram to follow a link.
Yeah.
And you're not signed into that browser because it's a new browser every time. It says you have to be in an 18 or older account.
Yeah.
So like, why don't they just allow for 18 or older to just be able to opt in to hearing curse words? And then they just have some.
If you just say I'm 18 and older.
because I don't think they want to
fair.
do like, I don't think they want to do the filtering on the front end. I think they have to have the prompt about the age probably for like, just like
legal
BS legal
I
reasons.
think that's a law. Yeah.
But I don't think because the more filtering they do on like on the front end of the content, the less stuff they have to sell to advertisers.
Yes.
Right? Because like as soon as you start stripping away all those people, and also let's be honest, I bet you the bulk of people that are using those services are younger demographics.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I think if you get into
18 to 27.
18 to 20, 18 to 24 is probably a healthy demographic, and then it probably gets significantly weaker the more you go from there. But I bet you like 13 to 18 is like huge. And I bet you, I bet you kids like
Burning it
8
up.
to 13 is probably massive. Or something.
Minecraft.
Yes.
All that.
Burning it up.
So they want to try to feed them content.
Yeah.
They don't really care whether it's content that's relevant to them or not. They just don't want it to have expletives in it. That's an easy thing for them to do from an algorithm standpoint to like probably flag all that on the front end, but it doesn't do them any justice to filter it. Anyway,
That makes sense.
I don't know. It's all speculation, all theory, dude. Just getting real deep into it. Okay. Now, we've covered topics 1 and 2 on the news list. What's
What's
topic
next?
3?
Next
Take
is
that.
March 28th Avatar digital release and a 9-hour version of Avatar 3.
Yes. Okay. So we had we speculated on this.
knows how I feel
That
about Avatar.
I speculated on this, maybe not you, but I said that Avatar wasn't going to come to streaming for a very long time.
You did, yeah. And I was
And
like, nah,
I
that
was-
joint's coming out.
I was
now.
proven wrong.
Yeah.
It came out in December, so we're 3 months.
Which I think is still a little long.
I think it fell off in theaters way faster than they thought it was going to fall off. That's what I think. I mean, I think it broke the records. It got the titles that they wanted it to get.
Yeah.
And then I think they kind of were like, okay, we're not really interested in anything else beyond that. And I think that it probably plummeted in the theaters pretty quick.
Yeah.
So obviously Disney was like, let's get this show on the road. So March 28th, you'll be able to stream it on Disney Plus. You'll be
Yeah.
able to check it out. But that news was
I have a funny story.
that news was quickly overshadowed by the fact that there is a 9-hour version of Avatar 3 that is going to debut on Disney Plus as a TV series. So as a show. Now, as I understand it, there's still going to be a version that makes its way into theaters.
So Avatar 3, the series, and then Avatar 3, the movie, is going to come right
There's going to be a movie in theaters that you can go see as Avatar 3, as I understand
as
it.
the 9 hours.
No. That's going to be a theatrical release. And then there's going to be like an extended version that takes place
On Disney Plus.
That's how I understood it. Now, maybe they're saying it's just going to premiere as a show. I'm not sure.
I see what you're saying.
I don't
Okay,
know.
I see what you're saying.
Maybe not.
Interesting.
It hasn't clarified. I've not seen an article that has clarified whether or not it is not going to be in theaters. They just all are saying that there is a 9-hour version of Avatar 3 that is going to debut on Disney Plus as a limited TV
In
series.
theory, you can just go watch the movie
And get the overarching concept.
or just wait or not wait, but you can watch it in pieces on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I would imagine that it is something that they will do. Like the theatrical cut will come out first, and it'll be in theaters, and you can go see it if you want to go see it. And then, like when they do the release of it, the digital release, you'll be able to watch that or the extended version, which is going to be 9 hours long, and it's just going to come out in pieces.
James Cameron,
It's going to come out in pieces.
I think I was listening to Smart List, and I think James Cameron said that they filmed 2 and 3 back to back, basically, which like he said. I think he said he was like almost done editing it for like except for a few shots, but like those shots are going to
There's
take.
no way he's editing it.
Well, not. I mean, he's just sitting there and just watching them.
It
and telling them.
seems up his alley, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
The 9-hour thing. I feel like he's not really dipped his toes into TV in that way, not in a limited series. He's done some like specials.
It's obsessive.
But I could see him doing that. That sounds right. I feel like he's mad when he has to cut scenes out.
I think.
Oh yeah,
He's pissed.
He's insulting us as like consumers, bro. Like
I don't know. I've not seen the second one, so I can't say. Have you seen the second one?
I haven't seen either of them, so I have no room to talk.
I tried to put on the first one for my kids, and they were
Yeah.
just like, "When do they turn blue?" I was like, "Sorry, kid, that's like
I think
another
they-
3
hour."
hours.
I was like another hour. So sorry.
Are there really not blue people for a while?
Yeah.
I thought there were blue people pretty quick.
Nah.
At the gate.
I put it on last Saturday. Saturday is like our morning home day, like and my wife is like cooking it up, and I'm whatever. I'm acting like I'm miserable on the couch, and we put on Avatar, and Clark is literally like, "When do they turn blue?" And I'm like, took the Apple TV
Fast
remote,
forward.
and I'm like trying. It's like 55 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
You're just swiping and
I'm just
swiping and swiping
going,
and swiping and
going, and then it is finally Zoe Saldana like watching them in the woods,
Yeah.
and then she was like, "Oh," and then she ran off, and she was over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I feel like the general consensus is that nobody needs more Avatar, but yet here we are.
Has he confirmed how many he's going to do, like overall?
5.
5.
There are 5.
he will not be here for number
Four-
5.
gonna
So
see the
4
release of
and
5.
5, before 2 came out, 4 and 5 were not confirmed because it was predicated on whether or not 2 did well. So 2 and 3 were filmed like in tandem. So 2 and 3 are like in the can. Those are happening, obviously. 2 already did. And then again, if 2 was successful, then 4 and 5 were going to get greenlit. He has indicated as such that 4 and 5 are good to go at this point. I've not seen anything official from the studios on it. It's obviously, I think, still a few years away from them needing to confirm anything. But apparently all of the scripts, everything that is necessary, all the pre-production, everything is done for all 5. It's just a matter of whether or not it's like we're going to actually film these.
budgets
4 and
and
5 have
moving
not
forward.
been filmed as far as I'm aware. There might be like a couple of scenes maybe they grabbed or something. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the only ones that are like for sure are 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I
Which
feel
we've
like
already
they
seen
need.
too.
I feel like they need like 10 years between 3 and 4, and then 4 and 5 for people to keep their interest.
Well, I think the idea is that there's one coming out every other year.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this is going to be a fast thing. Once they kind of all get off the ground, like I think the Avatar 3 I think is 2026 or something, or 2025 or something like that. Christmas 2025. And then I think it's like 2 years after that you get the next one and then the next one.
as much of a MCU advocate as I am, but they kind of tainted the release market because they were churning out trilogies in 4 years. Like Spider-Man was done in 4.
Yeah.
Captain America done in 4.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Thor, 4 years. Like all this stuff, which is Iron Man, 3.5 years. Like boom, 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 boom. And that's all Disney. Like
Sure.
like them trying to just like recoup all the money that they invest into these
Into
movies.
the MCU.
You're feeling like it's too much.
I don't know if it's too much, but
saturated, a little over.
You have to keep it. This is like
it's tough.
This is across
because if it's good,
but it's across all mediums, right? So it's like you have to constantly have content that you're putting out all the time. Attention spans are so short for
especially
everything.
in this day and age.
It's like most bands don't even put out albums anymore. They're just putting out singles like once a month because you kind of constantly have to keep like poking people to be relevant.
Remind
you have to
them
kind of
you're
constantly
here.
do that.
Yeah.
So it's like with
Yeah.
Avatar or Marvel or whatever, you can't wait 3 years between releases. You have to be consistent enough about it that people
telling the next part of the story.
they care about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of it's a little bit like our hang up with, you know, the big delays in between like Game of Thrones and stuff now, or, you know, House of the Dragon waiting so long. It's like I feel like personally I've gotten accustomed to every year having a new season. Now you're telling me there's going to be 2 years plus between seasons. That feels like a lot.
Like I'll be old, bro.
Yeah. Anyway,
I might not even have cable by then.
moving on. What do we got beyond that?
We'll talk about
Welcome
this.
to Good Burger. I love the Good
Oh
Burger
yeah.
too.
Let's hit this real quick and then we're going to talk about Good Burger. Good Burger 2.
I do.
I'm going to say it tastes like there's 4 whiskeys in there.
That's a good. Does it taste bad though?
You know, I'm not mad at it. You got to like whiskey. It's definitely a little sharper. In my opinion, it doesn't linger quite as long. I feel like it's a little
I
smoother.
feel like I gotta
on,
hold it like this while you're talking.
yeah, I feel like it's a little smoother on the
It's like a relic. And
on the other end, if you will.
It's a little sweet.
Like it kind of hits me like it's a little aggressive on the. It's a little assertive, but then it kind of tapers nice. It doesn't linger. At least it's not for me.
I'm upset that they said that they blended. Like,
But
They should have kept
it
that to
definitely
themselves. Yeah.
it feels like there's a lot in there.
oh yeah, it's
That's
heavy.
my
It's
opinion.
a heavy drink. Like it. This is like
I don't know if I'd rush out for it.
it's not. It tastes. I don't think it tastes bad.
Yes.
It doesn't taste bad, but it definitely has like a exhilarating take to it. Like it takes you very
Yeah.
fast.
It's
Like,
less nuanced than I would
Yeah.
like it to be. This feels more like just, it's a little like,
it packs a punch.
yeah, it's, I don't know. It's like distortion or something. I want something that's a little bit smoother.
Yeah. I
You
kind of
know?
want to ease into my evening. Like,
Yeah.
nah, this is literally
hot out the gate.
this is Hennessy with a black label. Like this is not.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, this is
I'm
not
gonna,
what
you
it
know,
says.
keep
it is.
sipping on it, but
Like I said, I don't think it tastes bad. I think the effect it has is a little hard.
okay. Yeah. We'll do a little double tap there. All right.
He's gonna come out of that.
Thoughts,
hoodie,
Mike?
Get hot.
Yay, nay?
It's good. It's a little sweet at the end.
Yep.
6.
Okay.
6.
Give me that number.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll sit with it. I might, maybe I'll warm on it. Good Burger 2.
Yes.
That was confirmed.
Welcome.
happening.
Thank you for what is it? Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Man, take your order.
I remember being very into that movie as a youth.
Absolutely.
That was a meaningful film. to
It
me.
was the first characterization of a stoner
Yeah.
Yes.
that I ever remember. Like Cal
Yep.
was the stoner that worked at the burger joint that I didn't know.
Sure.
And when I was a kid, because I was little, I was like 11.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a stoner. And then like as I was getting older, I'm like, Cal was high the entire time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They never like directly.
They never,
put a finger on it. I mean, it was a Nickelodeon film, right?
Right,
So
right.
they never like
Yeah.
directly put a finger on it. It was just kind of insinuated
that he's a
that-
high kid. Like
that. Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what like you go to a burger joint and it's, you know, a stoner kid working at the register and it's homeboy in the back making the burgers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was the idea behind it. And like I didn't get that until I got older and like went back and watched it again. I was like, yo, he was me working at Wendy's.
That all stemmed from all that. Did it start
Yeah.
there?
It did,
It started
yeah.
all that, yeah.
Man, I don't know. I feel like I feel like maybe we've waited a little too long on it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I feel like in today's culture,
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
all the sensitivities that we're dealing with, contending with,
I don't think it's going to do as well as they think.
it seems like
No.
a tough sell
I think it's just an olive branch for Kel because he's been so successful. He's like the senior writer on SNL. Mm-hmm. He had his sitcom.
I mean, that gives it some credibility, maybe.
Yeah.
But is it what the world's asking for right now?
I think people just want to see him and Kel back together doing something before they're.
I think everybody saw what Top Gun did, and they're trying to recreate the same thing.
Right. I know. I think, well, this is to the point of Keenan and Kel not doing anything together for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. And now that they've kind of, I don't know if there was a beef or what have you, they've mended their relationship.
They've come back together.
And now it's, before we get old and don't look like ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
Let's take one more crack at it.
And you.
Keenan is still very, very much an awesome comedian and an awesome writer. So I would think that he would be able to craft something that would still be, it's definitely going to be on par with like, Are We There Yet? Or, something corny. But Cal is a very big actor on Nickelodeon still. Is it Nickelodeon or is it Disney? He's still a child actor as an adult though, if that makes sense. Like he acts on these child shows.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Get what you're saying.
Yeah. He's still involved very much in the preteen demographic.
I have zero knowledge of it, but I get what you're saying.
I'm pulling up his IMDb.
Yeah. He still acts on like Disney Junior as like a father on one of the shows and stuff like that. I only know this because I got kids. So yeah.
Dang.
And in keeping with this theme of sequels, Rush Hour 4. That's another item here on the news list.
I think it's too late.
Got that. You're thinking it's too late. You're thinking no. So what's interesting? Apparently this movie has been in development for a long time. It's been discussed for many
very, very long time.
Years now. The article that I was reading earlier had quotes from 2008.
Yeah.
About how soon we would be getting this movie, and here we are in 2023. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I remember, were you a fan of the Rush Hour series?
The buddy cop genre is one of my favorite genres. The other guys, Rush Hour, Jump Street.
What was that
Bad one? Boys. Beverly Hills
Lethal
Cop,
Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. Like all, that's my like. I love that genre.
Sure.
My problem is Chris Tucker has gotten away from what made him funny, right? And
all right, put a point on that for me. What do you mean?
He walked away from like being the obscenely funny guy.
So now he's like a clean comedian?
Yeah. Clean, okay. Like clean routine, like so.
But do you think he'd be willing to shift that energy for a Rush Hour 4? Or do you think that this is
when's the last time you watched Rush Hour? That shit is so racist, bro.
No, I know. I know.
It's pretty racist.
It's very.
It's so.
I remember back then feeling like this was.
I am uncomfortable.
This was tight.
Do you understand the words?
Yeah.
It's like, so for him to have to go back into that type of element, I don't think he can do it.
It's hard to see it. It's hard to see it surviving in today's.
You can go back.
Today's like
and watch things like we watched The Office and these old Rush Hour movies, and that was a sign of the times of what you could get away with. Now I don't know if that type of humor could survive. I say you had 3 great movies. Leave it alone.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. Tom Segura has some like story about how he was on a plane and Chris Tucker sat next to him on the plane and just like they're like mid-flight. He's just sitting there silently, no headphones on or anything like that. And then Chris Tucker just looks over at him and says, "Should I do a 4th one?" And he's just like, you should do Rush Hour 4. And he's like, all right. And then just like leaves it at that. Yeah. This was like years ago.
I think he's just trying to. So Chris Tucker has a great agent. So he's been actively getting work and being a very serious actor. He just got cast in the Ben Affleck.
He's an heir.
And Matt Damon. Yes. The Michael Jordan story without Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So he's in that. And I think he's just wants to like give his last leg, like while people still remember like who I am and what I look like before I change.
Yeah, it's also an easy cash grab though.
Absolutely.
Like you can definitely sell that. It's gonna make some money. There's no
get
question.
like an
no doubt.
18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to my boy Torian, who
What do we
absolutely
got?
hates Chris Tucker.
Before we move on, I just want to add another buddy cop movie.
Let's go.
The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
that's
Great
true.
movie.
That's a good one.
True.
Very
true.
Zack Snyder's Darkseid teaser.
Okay, so now we're into the things that you've added to this list. I saw something about this
Did you see
teaser.
it?
I didn't watch it. I saw somebody talking about it. I didn't know. I feel like Zack Snyder is like just won't die.
He did this. I think he did this on purpose to piss off James Gunn.
That doesn't surprise me.
But okay, so tell me more. Give me like the bullet point here.
He
Is
released like this like
Teaser
teaser thing,
but for something that's not going to exist.
and it's like an audio,
Yeah.
right, of like someone saying like Darkseid's coming or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, like that. And people were like up and like they were like ready, like let's go, like
Yeah, but he's not affiliated with DC
right
at this point.
So then apparently like James Gunn came out and said something like this has nothing to do with us. I don't know
Yeah.
what he's doing.
he had to have just posted something for fun.
And obviously, like as a director, like you have like all of your like film and B-roll, and,
Yeah.
like whatever. If he wants to like chop up something as like an independent like thing, he can. But in respect to the studio, like that is like now you could be stepping in the realm of like legal ramification because it's like you're using like IP
Yeah,
that doesn't belong
maybe.
to you anymore. So I think that's why James Gunn quickly like jumped in like I don't know what this is and
Swatted it down.
nothing to do with us. And I don't know, like I love Zack Snyder. Like I think his work is awesome, but you're not there anymore, bro.
Dude, he's like the ex that won't go away.
Leave it alone.
You love him even after that like 4-hour movie?
It wasn't the redo. The redo.
It's terrible.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I liked it. Okay, I'm not gonna say I liked
It's
it.
a can of worms.
I liked it better than the first
Sure.
one.
Yeah. Anything is
There you
anything.
go.
Well, that
Yeah,
that whole
there
thing
you
was
go.
garbage.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, yeah, I hear you.
So
Okay.
DC
Fair.
is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, the whole
As far
thing.
It
as
has
concerned.
so much potential, and I could talk to you at length about how good it could be, but it is a dumpster fire.
Maybe we'll get into that. We could do a bonus episode.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Hellboy.
Casting for
You
Hellboy.
added this. I don't. The guy that they casted.
I don't know who he is. I thought you might have knew who he
Okay,
was.
so here's the thing. I'm a big Hellboy
Yeah,
fan.
you the Hellboy guy.
I'm very detached from the current cinematic Hellboy universe, just because I was all in on the Guillermo series. Always
Ron
a little,
Perlman. You
always
wanted
a little
wanted
bummed.
3, right? Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be a trilogy. We never got the final film. That bummed me out greatly. Then we had the reboot with David Harbour. Big mistake. Now we're doing another one. Maybe a little bit more promise here. It seems like a couple of people, the writer of the comics, he apparently has read the script. He's approved it. That's probably a good thing, not a bad thing.
this guy looks like a young
supposed to
Dave
be-
Harbour.
Supposed to be a horror movie. That's what they're saying. But the actor is a kind of not a known name guy, but not anybody that you would recognize. Like he's not in any like major parts as far as I'm aware.
He played like a bodyguard.
It was
in some
kind
other
of
movie,
like, yeah, it doesn't
What is
hit,
it called?
doesn't hit me one way or the other.
Go to comicbook.com. It's like
okay.
one of those posts. Yeah.
But anyway, as far as what his name is, like, I mean,
I didn't have
I keep
his
typing
name.
in new Hellboy, and I can't find anything.
Let's see if I can
Jack
find it.
Kesey.
What's his IMDb?
Jack Kesey. He was in Deadpool.
Yeah, I think he was Colossus.
He was like a character in Deadpool. This
Or
guy.
he was a body double.
Oh,
Maybe he
guy.
was the body double for Juggernaut. I don't know.
that dude right there.
yep.
Yeah, he looks like a
That's
young
him.
Dave Harbour. Yeah.
He just, again, it's fine. I don't know. He's going to be covered in makeup anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah,
really
no,
matter.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Prosthetics, yeah,
It's really
yeah.
all about the writing and the director and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
It could be a
TBD.
CGI Hellboy for all I care.
Like Ron Perlman is a actor that matters. Not that this guy doesn't, but you say Ron Perlman, people get excited. You put Ron Perlman in makeup, it's still Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman
You know
is
what I'm saying?
Hellboy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
Hellboy.
like
This
Chris Evans is
guy-
Captain America.
Like this dude is
Ron
this guy.
Perlman
I'm
is.
just saying.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like you could put me in a bunch of Hellboy makeup, and I feel like I would have the same visual effect.
You're
as
just
this guy.
cosplaying at
It's
this
just
point,
yeah,
yeah.
you're just cosplaying. It doesn't matter to me. But if you were like, oh, Christopher Walken, the new Hellboy, I'd be like, all right, let's go. It's Christopher Walken. I'm just saying, like that's a character. That's
I got you.
That's a person.
I want to see Hellboy,
You know what I'm
Christopher
saying?
Walken.
Steve Buscemi, Hellboy.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Right.
It's a person that is going to bring themselves to the character
Clint
in a way
Eastwood.
like that. This guy
Hellboy.
is just going to be this guy, right?
Yeah.
This guy's going to be whoever. He's just going to be.
He's just gonna be a
whatever
guy.
the director can do with him. He's just going to be that guy. That's
So
all.
which then, and I see what you're saying. In all seriousness, what this does now is it has to make the movie character driven rather than story driven. Because if this guy doesn't sell it, the movie's gonna suck. Like it's just not. It's just gonna be
That's it.
The
a bunch
movie
of-
just
yeah,
has
it's
the
gonna be
movie
flat.
has to be good on its own right. That's all.
Yeah,
they're
it'll-
just taking the character out of. They're taking the person and the actor out of Hellboy a little bit, and they're trying to make it about the movie. I think.
Okay, I
let's
got you.
not
Yeah.
because again, you attach David Harbour to something, and it's like, oh, the guy from Stranger Things. We all know him. It's going to be this. It's
Right,
going to be
right,
that.
right.
Like you go in with a preconceived notion of what it is going to be.
You know what his
I think what they're
body of
trying
work
to do is
gives,
basically be like,
yeah.
we're going to get a bunch of people that nobody knows, so that way everybody can just focus on the movie and not worry about.
the Hellboy.
There's
guy.
no hype in it. Like
And
nobody's
if,
hyping.
If
that.
he sells it, it's great.
Yep.
It just takes the pressure off of that aspect of it, I think.
I don't know. I don't know
But
if I
we'll
like that.
see. TBD. Anyway, I think that wraps up our news section. So we can move on
Watch
to
lists.
watch lists, which I
Yeah.
think the first thing on there is The Last of Us.
Mhm.
That wrapped
made
up.
it.
Now on episode 50, we're a week late on this. Episode 50, because we knew
got
we
in a
weren't
little
filming
bit.
last week.
Yeah.
So episode 50, we did a recap of what we had seen so far, how we felt about the series. Now we've seen the finale. Here we are. We're
Let's
done.
go.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay. You're still not playing the video game. You still haven't started.
I finished God of War.
That's great.
I started playing Spider-Man and I really enjoy it, but I feel like I
You're
can
all
move
over the
on to
road.
The Last of Us now.
Okay,
Like
all right.
Spider-Man's really, really great game, but like
Yeah.
it's not as invasive as God of War was. God of War
Yeah.
is like
Beautiful.
Yeah.
like so much. So and the Spider-Man is not as much. I'm
Yeah.
already like 40% through the campaign. So I can start The Last of Us probably like on Friday night.
All right.
I'm
Well, you're
hoping
really
my-
working against the show here.
I know.
So you've not played it. Have you played it?
I played bits of it. I
Okay,
know
bits
the
of it.
gist of it, but I think it comes out on PC on Friday.
Yeah, I think
might
the
pick it up.
28th.
That's another thing.
28th.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
and Resident
So
Evil.
you got my word. I'll start on Friday.
So, we've got a couple of things on this watch list we're trying to burn through. So why don't you just give me like your hot take? 9 episodes in.
The
in
season
and done.
finale.
Yeah. Season finale.
I think it
series
wrapped
as a
up
whole.
well. I think we were really, really getting to the culmination of who Joel was or is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this is a very, very violent person who left that life alone to have a family and like raise his daughter. And then this pandemic or endemic or apocalypse happens. And 20 years later, now he's forced to be this person again,
Yeah.
falls into this life, right? Of, this girl falls into his lap and has to protect her, much in the vein of having to make up for the mistake he made of losing his own daughter. And he does so many 180s. Like, I was a killer, father now, killer again, father, and now I'm a father and a killer. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not losing neither of those edges of my personality. And the last 10 minutes of the season finale was just, if you like John Wick, like that was it.
Yeah.
Like he was going for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
He went for it.
Kicking
for
some
sure.
ass in the end of that episode for sure.
I think in that, I think this, again, man, HBO, there is hope for the video game adaptation into TV and into movie, because it does a really, really great job of showing like so much violence, right? Showing him like running through these people. And then at the end, he still has to be humanized and lying to her
Yeah.
that everything that happened in there is a fallacy and it's not true, even though it actually was, right? Like they were like, yo, we can cure these people. She just got to go. And he's like, I'm not allowing that to happen. And then he lies to her and tells her like, yo, Don't worry about none of that. You know, so now I'm way more invested in their dynamic, in their relationship to see where it goes. Cause I'm like, so does she know?
Yeah.
Right? Because she's like, tell me the truth. Does she actually know that this was the case? Did she volunteer and say, yeah, I'm here to save the world? Mm-hmm. And then he just was like, I prevented that. And, you know, she wakes up in the car and she's just like, what about so-and-so? And she's like, oh, the Raiders got her. And she's just like,
yeah.
And turns over into the backseat. And then they get to, where were they? They were back in Kansas.
Jackson, yeah.
They were, yeah. And, you know, they have that moment. And she's like, you know, I'll follow you wherever, blah, 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 whatever it's saying. And, you know, she's just like, tell me the truth. And he's like, yeah, that was the truth. And then it just cuts on her just looking at him like,
yeah.
Is that BS?
I know you're lying to me, but you did come back for me. So it's
So you enjoyed the last episode.
What?
You were in on that.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Absolutely.
And then the series as a whole now that you've kind of put a bow on it.
Yeah.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Great writing.
It's great.
You know, we had some slow points and some flashback episodes, which were, you know, needed to give context to the entire story. But, you know, after we got the, what do they call them? The cannibal episode where she kills that, and then following it up right into this, and then still not seeing any clickers for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Right. And then still being completely enthralled in a show that's about a zombie apocalypse. It's like, all right, I'm in. Like, I'm in. This is great.
They did address that though. They said the next season they're going to have way more clickers in it.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
The thing is, write this type of stuff.
When you play the campaigns, like the first, I've played the first and the second one many times. Like it is, you definitely fight like zombies and clickers. It's certainly a part of the game, but it's way less than what you would think. You're fighting way more people. And like the dynamics of the threat are very comparable to what's in the show. Like it's very consistent. Like you will play hours and hours and hours of the game and you will not see zombies or clickers or any of those things because you'll be like in a city or something and you'll be like working through factions or different like groups of people or, you know, the same. It's very consistent. The show is very consistent with the game in that way. Like the zombies are like a part of the world that you're living in, but they're not a threat that is persistent because there are just certain areas where they're not a thing.
And that's kind of, you know, I spoke about this a few episodes ago. That's kind of been a theme in the zombie genre, that the zombies are just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And
Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead. I think the only one that really like zeroed into it was like Zombieland, maybe. Mm-hmm. But like everything else really like we're dealing like zombies are like snow outside. Like we just got to gear up and just get through it.
Yeah.
We got to deal with, you know, that group over the mountains, that group over the river, the group that's occupying the fresh market, like, you know, that type of stuff.
Yeah. You enjoyed it?
I did enjoy it.
You finished it, right? He didn't just spoil it.
No,
all
he
for
didn't
you.
spoil
Okay,
it. I enjoyed it. As
Sorry
that didn't play the game but had inklings of what happened. I enjoyed it. It made me feel things. It had some powerful writing. That one flashback episode with Ellie and her friend in the mall could have been like a half episode. That was kind of worthless in my opinion, but overall pretty good.
Yeah.
I give it like a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5. There we go, boys. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Love it.
Awesome.
Mandalorian.
Yes. All right, Mandalorian.
I'm loving it so far.
We're only a few episodes in, so we can't really dog it too much.
I do want to dog the last episode.
Okay.
Not the one that came out today.
I have my complaint.
The one that came out.
I have my complaint.
With the scientist. And I get it. I get what they were trying to do. That episode was thoroughly for Star Wars fans, right? We were getting inklings of the First Order. We were getting bits into bits that were going to lead us into the next trilogy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we haven't seen this guy for 3 seasons since the second episode and first episode and episode in the first episode in season 1. We haven't seen him. So why do we care about the investment in it?
Yeah, that episode, it did kind of pull you out of the Mandalorian vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
In a way that I felt it was a little too jarring. It would have been nicer if we would have gotten maybe a little more of a breakup.
Yeah.
They could have introduced his character again a little bit more slowly. To spend the entire episode with him, I'm not.
They didn't even intertwine it with Din Djarin and Grogu. Like if he had have been working right and realized that Grogu was still out here and some information that he uncovered or something like that, and that was its inspiration for getting the lab back, right? I would have been like, no, he just wants to get it back because this chick manipulated him. I was like, this is whack.
I think the Mandalorian show as a whole is getting better with each season. I feel like they know what works. I feel like they're building on that successfully. I'm excited to see where season 3 goes. I agree with you on the last episode. My side tangent complaint would be with Grogu in particular. I like that he gets more screen time. I feel like that's really playing to the fans.
It's very accelerated.
I like that. I'm ready for him to be a little bit more of a contributor to the team. There are moments.
He's a toddler.
No, but there are moments where he is like very capable and he wields the Force and he does incredible things.
Yeah.
And then again, there's other times like in the last episode or the episode 2 where there's all these opportunities for him to be doing things with the Force and he kind of chooses not to or seems to be struggling with it, or I kind of am just looking for him. I don't need him to
the growth. Where's the growth?
But like just a little bit, right? Like he's been going on all these adventures. He's been with the Mandalorian. He's been doing all of these things. Like he should be getting a little better each season.
I'm ready for him to see him as a.
I don't need him to like, be I'm not asking for him to be a hero. I just need him to be a little, I want to see him like in the background, like doing more things with the Force or like growing, becoming stronger, like figuring things out a little bit more. He just kind of seems like he is consistently as useless. He's very cute and I enjoy him as a character. I think he's a lot of fun.
I was about to say, he is so cute.
But there are just moments there's moments in the other seasons where he does really remarkable things. And you're like, okay, he's going to become a sidekick. Like he's going to start carrying his own weight. And you kind of get excited. And then it's like I feel like we're always resetting back to infant status. And so anyway,
I absolutely agree. And
that's a side complaint.
For Jon Favreau to come out and say that the break between season 2 and season 3 where Grogu is without Din Djarin was 2 years actually. And we see some advances in like his movement and in like his thought process and like but we haven't seen like any maturity.
Yeah.
Like when is he going to start speaking? When is he going to start moving?
I don't even need the speaking thing. I just need him to start like he understands what's going on. He's very intelligent. I just need him to start contributing.
You just want him to like go grocery shopping by himself.
Well, no, but like there's all these scenes where like the Mandalorian is like teaching him about the galaxies, teaching him about the ship, like teaching him how to do things. Like Grogu is obviously intelligent. Like he can do things.
And he's absorbing the stuff, but he never utilizes it.
That's my point. Gotcha. All right, boom. Next thing.
Cool. Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
Did you watch this?
So I've not watched Cocaine Bear yet. And
oh my God.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
I am excited to see it. I really am.
Oh my God.
So because I've not seen it, what I'm going to do, I would like your hot take on it. I think it has like a 68 or 67 or something on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's better than I expected.
Yeah.
But just give me a one line on it.
It's like The Big Lebowski meets The Goonies.
Oh, I'm so in.
Meets there was another one that it's just ridiculous.
So do you feel like
Pineapple Express? Like it's like all of that
kind of humor.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the rating is appropriate? Like, do you think it's are you like, oh my God, it's such a good movie?
No.
Or are you like, well, yeah, it misses a lot of spots, but it's probably like a 60%.
Look at it like this, right?
68%.
We are in a period where people are trying to make breathtaking cinema, right?
Well, we've always been in that period, but yes.
Well, right, and getting people back to the theater, right?
Sure.
Top Gun, Avatar,
yes.
Everything that the MCU is, kicking out, and they want everything to make $1 billion, and you just want to like.
This is just a fun time at the movies.
This is just
that's your pitch for it.
Yeah, you just want to like.
So you feel like the mid 60s is fair
for my people who just want to get stoned and go to the movies. This is absolutely for you. I had the privilege of watching this illegally.
It's great.
And
love it.
It is on streaming, by the way.
It is.
You can rent it. Sorry, it's not. You can if you go to like iTunes, you can rent it.
I'm not gonna.
You can watch it.
I'm not gonna out anybody.
You can watch it at home.
Josh, he got
I'm
it.
not saying you can't get it
on
illegally.
Plex.
It's on the Plex.
But
yeah, I was it was funny. It was corny. The CGI was terrible, but
it's exactly what you want.
it's exactly what you want when you watch something with the title Cocaine Bear.
I love it.
Yeah.
Quick little thing here. I don't know if you recognize this guy. He's a comedian.
Yes.
And he's from Dundalk.
Did not.
Good
know
for him.
he was
He's in the
Dundalk.
movie. Yeah.
The mustache.
I think
love
he's
it.
Gives it away.
like a paramedic or something like that. Or
Oh, damn.
Oh, he was really good. He had
Yeah.
a nice little 5-minute scene that was.
Shout out-
I've seen him online.
Shout
He's
out
funny.
to
I didn't know he was
Scott
from-
Seiss.
Didn't know he was
Shout out
from
to
Dundalk.
Scott, Baltimore guy. Yeah, that's dope.
We're running low on time, but next item. Servant.
You were right.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't watch.
Servant.
I've given up.
It ends on a strong note, I would say.
Does it really?
Mike agreed.
It does. Yeah.
I would say yes. I felt like
Open-ended.
season 1 was strong. 2, 3 was a little lull, kind of.
Lulls, for
4
sure.
was everything kind of is hitting the fan. I think it puts a bow on it in a nice way. I don't know if the ending is overly satisfying, but I think it was fun, and I think it was interesting enough to feel as if you didn't waste your time.
Okay.
It's probably, in hindsight, a better movie concept than maybe multiple series. I made the argument, I've talked about this with Emily a lot, but I made the argument that if it was like a Netflix thing and you could binge every season easily, maybe then it is fine.
Waiting every
But
week sucked.
I don't know if there's enough there for you to, and they're only 30-minute
30,
episodes.
yep.
So I don't know if there's enough there to piece it out over so many months and so many years. If you were dropping it to me once a year and I could watch it all at once, like an extended movie kind of experience, different feeling. But it's,
I'll see if I can get my wife.
it's
back
worth
into
a
it.
watch,
Okay.
I would say. It's an easy watch because it's short. If you don't like the concept at all,
We absolutely
Then-
love the concept, but
Okay.
I am about the story being fulfilled, and there were so
Yes.
many more unanswered questions at the end
you
of
will
each
get-
season. I was just
You'll
like,
get them.
You'll
but-
get it, but you will not get it until the very end.
Yeah.
So just settle in.
So
But-
I could totally spoil it for you if you want, but I don't want to do that.
No.
no, let me check with Chanel.
Give him some
and
time.
See if she
It's,
wants
Give him
to.
some time.
it's interesting. It's. I'll just leave it at that. It's a little open ended.
So frustrating for me.
Yeah.
All right. Next item.
MH370, the plane that disappeared.
This was a documentary. This is on Netflix.
I need to watch that.
And
It's
it
on
Is
my
this the
list.
one that went over the
370.
Indian Ocean?
This is it was in that area. It wasn't the Indian Ocean though.
What was it called?
This was the plane. This is something that happened not that long ago.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
plane vanished and it disappeared, and they couldn't find it. and
Malaysia.
There was,
Malaysia.
There was
Yeah, I
all
said
these
Indian Ocean.
conspiracy theories about where the plane went. All these different routes. Like was
drowned, bro.
was the pilot suicidal? Was there a military thing? Netflix documentary. Very interesting. It is worth a watch.
What's
for
it called again?
sure.
MH370, the
Plane that disappeared. It's on Netflix. That's literally the name.
Yeah, it's getting like advertised. You can't miss it.
Yeah. If you're into like conspiracy theory, it's not really like true crime, but conspiracy theory, like whodunit kind of stuff, worth a watch. If plane stuff doesn't make you feel weird and you're not going to get like, turbo emotional over it,
I don't get that.
it's definitely a sad thing. There's a lot of people lost their lives.
Absolutely.
But
Or
it
did
is, it is quite,
We don't know where they are.
it is quite a,
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it
lot of
episodes?
possibilities. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Yeah, I think it's like 3 episodes.
I have 3 episodes.
It's a short series.
Okay.
But they go down a lot of different rabbit holes of what could have happened. And I'll tell you what, dude, when you get to the end of it, you're like,
I don't know what happened.
dude, no, I feel very strongly
He is
about what
never
happened.
flying a plane
I feel
again.
very strongly about what happened, but I will not be flying flights in certain
In that
countries.
area.
In
But
certain
do you-
areas, for sure not.
Do you feel like they were very neutral in what they conveyed, or were they kind of being like it
I
could
don't.
be A
So
and B,
here's
but
the thing.
it's definitely
There's.
C.
I don't think anybody really knows. So I think they lay out like the top 3 or 4 possibilities, and they present the evidence that led all these people to believe that it was these things. I didn't feel like they were coming down on any one side of it, but it's very interesting. It's worth watching.
Copy.
It's not like an overly like, yeah, yeah, you'll get it.
Okay.
It's worth watching. It's great.
And last but not least, Vanderpump.
Oh, okay. Vanderpump Rules. We had a big episode last,
But we had a great
2 weeks
episode
ago.
last
Episode 50, big episode. Vanderpump Rules
A
special.
lot of views.
I have started watching.
Thank y'all for watching it.
Started watching the Vanderpump series with Emily. This is all this announcement was for. I don't have anything to bring to the table about it, other than I've started at season 1 and I'm in like 3 episodes.
Okay.
What is
that's
this?
where
I
we're
have
at.
no idea what this is. Am
You're
I
gonna have to
just
do
under a
You're
rock?
gonna have to do a little research. This
Okay,
is in the
that's fine.
Bravoverse. So
Oh,
the Bravoverse.
Oh,
if you're
I'm
not in the
seeing.
Bravoverse, dude,
The Bravoverse is
okay.
got my wife in
Hooked.
a chokehold, bro.
my wife is
wow,
in the
this
other. My wife is in the other room right now in the chokehold via Bravoverse.
I didn't realize how massive
Oh, dude,
the Bravoverse is. You got
she's in there. She can't breathe.
6 hours, 6 different housewife shows.
Oh, it's this guy.
You got
Okay.
Endless.
You
dude.
got these love and marriage shows. They got some other shows. Like, yo, Andy Cohen is a billionaire.
There is like a billion shows with the
And they
same
all-
concept, all different towns. And then they have different like spin-offs, and then they have late night shows, and then they have reunion shows, and then it's like
All
there's
of them.
overlapping shows, and then they do like shows where like different housewives all get together
And they do
and they go on
retreats.
vacations.
Yeah, they go on vacation together.
I'll tell you what, Bravo is like they have too many ideas for shows.
Yeah.
They can't stop making shows.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure if this is the same vein of like 90 Day Fiance, because me and my wife
Okay.
got like
Yeah.
deep down
So
that
here's
rabbit
the
hole
thing.
during the pandemic.
I'm a
and like,
huge 90 Day Fiance
Yeah, we love
guy.
what a ride.
Huge 90 Day Fiance guy. This is very different. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
more
yeah.
in the vein of a housewives show.
Rich.
It's
interesting.
more
okay.
in that vein.
Yeah.
It's younger people, but it's more of that thread.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
less 90 Days is a little bit more like
Regular people.
yeah. This is
Regular people.
this is Bravo.
Yeah.
So this is like real
Yeah.
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 This plays to a very specific
Client.
You
demographic.
watch the Indian one? Shaw's, not Shaw's. What's the other one? There's Shaw's Over Sunset, and then there's another one.
No, I don't. First of all, I don't watch any of these. Just to preface, not because I don't like them or there's anything wrong with them. Vanderpump is just like my really first exposure.
This
to
is
it.
all by proxy
I
of my
watched
wife.
some
Like,
of the Housewives of New York. There was a time where I watched a little bit with Emily, but then she started getting into all of the Housewives shows,
Branched
and I couldn't
out.
keep up.
Yep.
I saw some of New York, and I'm starting Vanderpump, and that's really all I have to
Okay.
to the table at this point. Which, not to rush us, but we're gonna wrap up 51 because we've run long. But
sorry.
it's okay.
Good one.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
y'all.
It's all good.
Oh,
It's
I
all
did.
good.
Did want to talk about Swarm, which was, I don't know if it was on there.
I don't know what that is.
Because I wanted to talk about Ticketmaster real quick. Ticketmaster needs to be abolished because it's contributing to, just crazy psychotic behavior. But if you want to watch Swarm, it's a parody. It's created by Donald Glover about a young lady who was obsessed with a singer, which is much like how some young ladies are obsessed with Beyonce and the Beehive. So it's kind of a take on that. It's interesting watch so far. We watched the first episode, 2 episodes last night, and for him to be that daring to challenge the Beehive is
Bold
very bold. Like the Beehive, I don't know what do you call the Taylor Swift people, the
Swifties.
the Swifties, and the Barbs. Well, you don't challenge those people.
It's
You
a
know,
show.
it-
Okay.
you don't challenge them.
All right.
So for him to like make a show challenging the ideology of like the Beehive, it's like very, very interesting.
Let's check it out.
Add it to my list. I
That's
love me
it.
some Donald Glover.
All right. Good episode. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Good
Mike,
to see
thanks
you.
for being
You got
here.
tan?
Thank you.
Helpful
Appreciate
as
you
always.
having me.
I did get 10. And here's to episode 52.
52.